Hello and welcome. So you think you know Britain? Think again. Once a proud world leader, Britain today is hardly recognisable. Very different from the nation that once shaped the modern world. Join me on a journey through Britain's last 3 decades, from open borders to cultural shifts, and see just how much she's changed and why it matters to us all. Stick around until the end to hear my take on what Britain can learn from Thailand. I promise it is worth it. Ah, Britain. The nation that brought us Shakespeare, tea time and a stiff upper lip. She used to stand tall, didn't she? A symbol of power, order and good old common sense. However, here we are, almost 30 years later, and I'm telling you, Britain has had a bit of an identity crisis. Having spent years living here in Thailand and working around the world as a non-resident Brit, watching the changes from afar, I cannot help but wonder, what happened? Now, before we dive in, let me be clear. This is not some gloomy back in my day rant. No, this is the story. A journey through Britain's transformation. However, it is more intriguing than you might think. Let us start back in the 1990s, a time when Britain was, let us say, still clinging onto its global identity. Recall the Commonwealth Games, the royal family splashed across the tabloids, and that touch of British superiority. Well, fast forward, and it seems that stiff upper lip has gotten a bit wobbly. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, one of the biggest shifts hit Britain square in the face. Open borders. With the European Union expanding and the introduction of the Schengen Agreement, British borders were suddenly more open than a seaside cafe in Brighton. People came from all over, and while diversity brought colour and richness, it changed the British sense of order and identity. The old guard, those who remember the Britain of fish and chips and bowler hats, felt a bit outnumbered. In Thailand, on the other hand, I can assure you that her borders are securely guarded. Try strolling into Thailand without the proper paperwork and you will be met with a smile and swiftly sent back to where you came from. However, Britain, it opened wide, and some would say the cultural flood that followed left her a bit waterlogged. Now, here is the next twist. Britain has always prided itself on a unique, somewhat quirky identity. Nevertheless, look around today and much of that seems to be blurred. The quintessential British values, respect for tradition, privacy and yes, a dash of self-deprecating humour, seem to be fading. Tea time is now more about latte culture, and Sunday roasts are sometimes replaced by quinoa salads and oat milk cappuccinos. Furthermore, do not get me started on the royal family. Once the steadfast symbol of British pride, they have become a bit like Britain's soap opera. You have the younger royals redefining their roles and the older generation holding on for dear life to whatever semblance of dignity remains. It is like watching a national treasure slowly slip away. In Thailand, the royal family holds an entirely different place. Here, tradition still reigns supreme, literally and figuratively. Every Thai respects the monarchy, and this reverence binds the country together. Britain, though, it seems we have traded reverence for a reality TV drama. The digital revolution and the death of privacy. The internet. What a double-edged sword, eh? In the early 2000s, Britain embraced the digital age with open arms. Social media, smartphones, 24-hour connectivity. Then, along with it came a certain loss of privacy. It is hard to maintain a stiff upper lip when everyone is Snapchatting a bad day at Tesco. What is more, the internet did not just change how people interact, it changed how they see themselves. British identity became less about who you are, more about who you are perceived to be online. Suddenly everyone is an influencer, everyone has an opinion, and everyone is watching. Thailand, well, they use social media just as much, but there is still this underlying sense of, shall we say, restraint. You will not find Thais airing their laundry in quite the same way. Politics and the Brexit saga. Now, this is the big one, isn't it? Brexit. Talk about an event that turned Britain inside out. Once upon a time, Britain was a proud EU member, championing a single market, free trade and European unity. Nevertheless, come 2016, a seismic decision rocked the nation, and the question on everybody's lips was, shall we stay or shall we go? Brexit brought with it fierce division. Friends, families, neighbours. It was like an awkward family reunion, except the argument never ended. Moreover, let us be honest, Britain has not quite found its footing since. On one hand, there was this rallying cry of take back control, but on the other, Britain lost access to certain markets and experienced economic bumps that had everyone scratching their heads. In Thailand, by contrast, you will not find this level of upheaval. Thailand is not part of any big regional union that might sway its politics or policies. It controls its borders, its economy and its politics in a way that is distinctly Thai. They do what works for them. No apologies, no fuss. The rise of political correctness. Alright, here is the one that really gets my goat. Political correctness. Do not get me wrong, a little bit of politeness never hurts anyone. However, somewhere along the way, Britain took it to an extreme. You can hardly express an opinion without someone taking offence. In Thailand, people might joke, debate, and yes, sometimes even disagree. But there's a respect, a certain sense of my pen right. Don't worry about it. However, Britain, it is as if everyone is walking on eggshells, afraid to say the wrong thing. The final twist. What Britain could learn from Thailand. So, here we are, 3 decades of change later, and Britain is not quite the same as it used to be. Nevertheless, here is the kicker. I think there is a lesson or two Britain could learn from Thailand. Thailand has this incredible sense of resilience, of holding on to its identity, even as the world around it shifts. Here, there is a serene pride, a deep respect for tradition, family, and the things that truly matter. And maybe, just maybe, that is what Britain needs to rediscover. It's not about shutting out the world. It is about finding balance, about remembering what makes Britain British. If you enjoyed this nostalgic journey and crave for more stories about life in Thailand, a bit of history or some classic grumpy Englishman insights, do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. There is a lot more where this came from. So there you have it, folks. Do not forget to leave your opinions on the subject in the comments section below. Britain has changed, no doubt about it. However, while some might say she has lost her way, I would like to think she is just searching for it. Bring back integrity for starters, and start with today's British parliamentarians. Firstly, restore law and order, bring back enforcement and the necessary punishments. Even if it means in overcrowded jails. After all, they are supposed to be jails, not holiday camps or health spas. Do not get me started on the mental health issues, otherwise I should be here all day. Finally, if the British government or their British citizens needs a bit of guidance Well, maybe a little Thai wisdom is exactly what the doctor ordered. That is it. I am off for a little lay down. Bye bye.